Welcome back to Brands Hatch. With 13 races in the season already gone, the British Sidecars are here for their final race, and there is drama before we even get there, because the series leaders, Luke Williams and Kevin Kolsch, are in your picture now, having pushed off the grid with moments to go before we get this race underway. Alongside me is Tom Brooks. I mean, this sort of drama is the last thing you need, right?
Absolutely, Barry. Their championship lead was whittled down to 13 points yesterday. Absolutely crucial race, 25 on offer here today. Exactly as you said, the last thing that this team would have needed going into this final race of the season. Well,
they were scheduled to start right at the sharp end, of course, and well, it's going to be absolutely dramatic. Lewis Blackstock, who's chasing them and is really in the pound seats now to benefit, is placed very, very well indeed. Those are the standings. Blackstock, Laidlow, Christie, well, we're looking now for Williams on that, and no Luke Williams on that caption.
I think according to our standings, Barry, there's a 13-point gap at the sharp end. Williams and Kolsch, 227 points. Blackstock and Lawrence, 214. So 13 points, and as we said, 25 on offer.
Yeah, 13 points is what's important, and that means they've got to finish in the top three for sure. There's the grid. Laidlow's on row 2 with Blackstock, who now has got every opportunity to nip out and get... He needs to get a win, that's for sure. Crow there, Atkinson, the Cup winner, Kirby and Salmon, Cup winner yesterday in the race for Rob Atkinson. A brilliant performance for them. Graham Muldoon, Holland there, they were non-finishers, and right down the back there were one or two non-finishers. Ian Guy and Ken Edwards also joining that crew of people who didn't make it all the way to the line. So something's going on here, and this is really, really panic time here. This is something they must have found out on their way to the grid. Larry Carter, the public address commentator there. I mean, this nerves, you'll be in a mess, won't you?
Absolutely, yeah. You're going to be in a mess on the grid anyway in circumstances such as this. The last thing that you'll need is drama like this. You know, you've got all of that anticipation, and knowing the fact that they lost some of their championship lead yesterday, the last thing they wanted, you can see the panic visibly in the conversations that are going on here. And by the looks of things, Barry, they may not even be making the start of this race from pit lane.
Goodness me, that is dramatic indeed. Well, now you can see Blackstock on the left-hand side, the 95 crew. He and Oscar Lawrence have got a clear run into Paddock Hill Bend, and we know how quickly they can get that thing off the line. Harry Payne is on the outside. He and Kevin Rousseau, the number 45, reigning world champions, not yet crowned 2025 world champions because of a dispute. Let's get on with what we've got here. The lights are coming in at the top of your picture. Watch Blackstock on the left-hand side. The lights are out the way they go, but Harry Payne gets a flyer. So does Sam Laidlow. Sam Laidlow is pushing Blackstock into third, but Blackstock is up the inside, rallying on the brakes and grabbed second. That was what he needed to do for sure.
Absolutely, got to be decisive in these early stages here, Barry. And Sam and Jack Laidlow, of course, in the blue and yellow machine, now third in your picture. They'll want to make amends for the breakdown that they suffered in their race yesterday. They can seize an opportunity. They're looking on the inside coming down into Graham Hill. Can't quite make anything stick for P2 at the moment, but for Williams and Kolsch there, you can see disaster.
Heartbreak for Luke Williams and Kevin Kolsch. That is it. It's game over. They have lost the championship here. Unless something should befall Lewis Blackstock. But he will be getting surely a signal here. What he does not need to do is get mixed up with Sam and Jack Laidlow, who are third in the title standings, as they go down towards Westfield. Harry Payne and Kevin Rousseau in the lead. Then it's Blackstock, then it's Laidlow. Tim Reeves got an absolute flyer. Tim Reeves really from 8th place on the grid, the number 77. Tim Reeves looking very, very strong. Blackstock then. And Tim Reeves with a stand-in Australian passenger who saw the track for the very first time yesterday, did 3 laps, then a race, and they brought it from the back of the grid to 8th place. A fantastic result. But what a battle we got here.
Yeah, this is looking phenomenal in the background there. There's some dives going on the inside down in towards Clearway. Don't know if anybody was able to quite make anything stick. Just looking at Blackstock and Lawrence here, Barry, that are P2 at the moment over the line. If they finish 6th or better, that's enough for them to take the championship here this morning.
Well, my mathematician, Tom Brooks, alongside. Look at Todd Ellis going wide there. Really, Tim Reeves and Todd Ellis at it, hammer and tongs here. Reeves now is ahead of Sam and Jack Laidlow. But Reeves is a wild card, so he won't take points, but what he is doing is getting back in the groove.
Look at this phenomenal racing on the inside there, down at Graham Hill. Obviously, the circuit drops away, and the problem is, look, he's dived up the inside. That then has subsequently opened the door for other competitors to come through, and that's Reeves and Turner, isn't it, making some moves?
It is. Reeves and Turner and Ben Birchall and Mark Wilkes on the Haga Honda behind them, the number 16. Here comes Ben Birchall right behind his arch rival over so many seasons, Tim Reeves. And is Ben Birchall going to run in on the brakes here? Yes, he does. Underneath Tim Reeves and Daniel Turner, the Australian passenger. Reeves then absolutely fantastic, 8 times a world champion. This grid is packed with world championship talent.
It's wonderful, isn't it? Some great racing, and look at this as well. The door's opening here for Sam Laidlow to have a look on the inside, coming up the rise into Westfield, then gets the move done. It's blind into that corner. You've got to be so careful to have a willing dance partner that just gave them enough room.
Ryan and Callum Crowe are there as well. The Crowe brothers are right there. Rob Biggs is in the hunt as well. What a season Rob Biggs and Ferry Sagers have had. Rob Biggs is destined to carry the number 5 into next year as well, because he's in 5th place in the overall standings at the moment, and that is looking very good for him. But look at the Crowe boys on the back of Tim Reeves now, and going through underneath and making it stick. Just a little kiss on the wheel arch as they went through. My goodness me, what a race.
This is phenomenal, isn't it? Absolutely brilliant. Look at what he's done though there. They've just, lost that position. They've lost a couple of lengths to the other riders in front as well, and immediately Tim Reeves trying to retaliate. But the problem they've got is that you've got the Crows that are there now in front of them, but you've got Biggs and Seegers right behind as well, all looking to make moves. And the problem is, in this sort of race, Barry, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards now, because the field is so tightly knit together.
Well, Lewis Blackstock and Oscar Lawrence are in 2nd place, but in real terms they're in a 25-point position. Ahead of them is a wild card, Payne, and behind them is a wild card, Ellis. Then it's Birchall in 4th place. What a fantastic battle. I spoke to Todd Ellis earlier and I said, you seem to be riding much better yesterday. He said the problem is, this year, with the new chassis, I can't get the drive down after about 5 laps. Once the tyres go, I can't get it going forwards.
Yeah, it's so tricky, that, isn't it, when you're struggling with traction. Look at that, Tim Reeves just a little bit wide. That's opened the door then for the Crowe brothers to just go through on the entry into Westfield. Managed to make it stick quite nicely, but a slight mistake has just opened the door and cost them a position as a result. But as you say there, Barry, when you're losing traction like that, it's so difficult, because you know that you've got the performance underneath you, but you can't use it.
And frustrating. It just doesn't go when you want to.
I think there's a problem here for Tim Reeves and Turner here, by the looks of things.
Yeah,
I think
Reeves has cooked his goose. In pit lane they go. So Tim Reeves, what a shame, but that's a very good baptism of fire for Daniel Turner. Ian Guy out of the running as well. He and veteran Ken Edwards. Ian Guy, no spring chicken himself as well, out at Westfield into the safety area behind the Armco.
That's a shame for them, especially, Barry, because they DNF'd yesterday as well, so that's 2 DNFs in a row in the last weekend of the series.
Back to the front. Harry Payne, Kevin Rousseau then on target for victory here. The Laidlows still scrapping with the Birchalls. Birchall and Mark Wilkes, of course. This is a partnership lined up for next season with the TT very much in mind. But Ben Birchall now on the back of Sam and Jack Laidlow. The Haga Honda is very quick. He's on about 145 miles an hour at Pilgrim's Drop. Laidlow just nips across the front. Precocious, aren't they? I mean, 23 and 19 years of age, I believe.
Yeah, you cannot believe how fast it is. The TV cameras really don't do it justice. The drop there of Pilgrims and going in towards Hawthorns, it's incredibly brave to think about a move, and a late chop over like that. Very, very aggressive stuff from the Laidlow brothers there, but they managed to make it work quite nicely. Didn't cost themselves any time, didn't cost Birchall and Wilkes too much time either. But you get a sense here, don't you, Barry? It's a case of when and not if we're going to see Birchall and Wilkes attacking for position.
Indeed, and I think it's now. I think we're going to see it very, very shortly. The Laidlow boys doing a great job. They're guaranteed 3rd place in the overall standings anyway. Nothing can take that away from them. They are, of course, the outgoing champions in that respect. But they'll be back for more. They've got a long, long career ahead of them, and I expect to see them running very strongly in what promises to be a fantastic brand new season in 2026.
Yeah, really excited to see what's going to happen to Sidecars in 2026. As you say, lots of changes afoot with the championship. Oh, Laidlow just a little bit wide on the exit there of Druids. And I wonder if that might cost them a bit of drive, a bit of momentum as they come through into Graham Hill. Might leave them vulnerable perhaps for an attack into Surtees. You can see that there, going for the defensive line, parking the machine in the middle.
Well, there's a rejuvenated rejuvenated Todd Ellis on the back of Lewis Blackstock, following Blackstock round, but as I say, no threat to him in terms of points. And now, well, absolutely fantastic stuff.
Ellis and Clement last time around 132.7. Compare that to Blackstock and Lawrence, who were a 133.5. So big difference, 0.8 of a second between those two. Ellis and Clement have really closed that gap up over the last lap or so in particular, now down to about half a second. So let's see whether they can make an overtake for position before too long.
Well, Laidlow's have gapped Ben Birchall now, and this is the battle at the front. We can see second place, but 25 points effectively race leader in terms of points. Lewis Blackstock, Oscar Lawrence leading Todd Ellis, double world champions Todd Ellis, Emmanuel Clement carrying the number 6 on the Brooklyn Yamaha into clearways. Let's see, leg for leg, engine for engine, two Yamahas. Who's got the legs down here? Blackstock is very good into, oh, not as good as Todd Ellis, into Paddock Hill Bend on the brakes. What a move that was. A brave one as well, and he made it stick.
Yeah, decisive and clean that, and thankfully managed to hold the line on the inside. It's so easy when you make a lunge at Paddock Hill Bend because you've got a bit of camber and a few bumps on the inside of that corner to just upset the rhythm of the machine, send you wide onto the curb, cost you drive, and then leave you vulnerable into Druids. Thankfully for Ellis and Clement, didn't happen. They managed to get the position. They're up in the P2.
Tom, my heart goes out actually to Luke Williams and Kevin Kolsch, who won't even be watching this. They won't be able to watch it. They're stuck trackside. They can see all hopes of being champions in 2025 just evaporating now, because Lewis Blackstock is doing everything he needs to do, but he must hold it together. I take you back 1 year, final lap, his bike gave up.
Yeah, exactly that. You've got to be in it to win it, haven't you? But also they can play the odds at this point. As I said, you know, P6 is going to be enough for them to be crowned as the champions. They're currently P3. They're in a comfortable position here with a 3.7 second gap over Sam and Jack Laidlow. So if they can just hold position, that'll be quite enough for them. And I don't think they're going to be taking any unnecessary risks. You don't want to be running off of the circuit, making a mistake, running too wide, costing yourself time when you don't need to be. And they're in a comfortable position here.
Well, Luke Williams, you can see in the tower there on the result. There's Luke Williams looking at the monitor. He's not watching the race, but he's looking at the monitor, totally dejected. But he will be back for more. I mean, he's new, relatively new on the scene. But what a heartbreak! And Tony, his father, look at that. He can't watch it. He can't watch it. He's got to turn away.
No, I'd be on the blower looking for a holiday, to be honest with you, there, Barry. Some bother here as well.
Yeah, that looks like the Ben Holland number 100. That's out of it. I think that's Wayne Stevens. Let's have a look. Not absolutely sure, but it looks to me like the Ben Holland machine.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the timing screen, see who drops down from that one there, Barry, but looks like they're okay. Meanwhile, at the front end of this, we've hardly mentioned Payne and Russo. They've got a nice comfortable cushion of, what, 1.7 seconds over Ellis and Clement, but last time around, Ellis and Clement were 0.4 of a second faster, so I wonder, a bit like we saw yesterday, do you remember Payne and Russo? They came to the good right at the end of the race, didn't they? They
certainly did, yeah. They came on really strongly. Well, of course, these guys, world champions and world championship material, are used to long races, 18 lappers on the big international circuits of the world. So this 10 lapper around here is relatively easy peasy for them.
Bit of a sprint, isn't it, by comparison? We're now over 2/3 race distance into this one, so we'll keep an eye on the pace at the sharp end of this and see what Blackstock and Lawrence are going to be able to do. They sort of back the pace off a little bit now, Blackstock and Lawrence. Last time around, they were in the early 1:34s. As I said, they can play the odds. They don't have to worry too much.
Nobody will be more acutely aware of bringing it home than Lewis Blackstock, having been in this position, and now he is well and truly in the pound seats. We're on lap 8 of 10. So he's just got to bring it home. He's not too worried about Todd Ellis up the road ahead of him, but Laidlow's are behind. They can steal a couple of points off him, but even that won't bother him too much. But what he doesn't want is Birchall getting stuck in as well, because that would drop him down into the clutches of the Crows.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You've got to be a little bit careful with situations like that. You don't want to be riding... Yeah. It's difficult, isn't it, when you're sort of riding a bit within yourself there. You know, they're going to be, I would imagine, just revving the engine, not quite as high as they would normally, just, you know, feathering the controls and just making sure that they're keeping it as calm and controlled as possible. And
he will know that Luke Williams is out, because Lewis Blackstock's pit board has told him that 91 is out. So he knows that the the threat, the big threat, the only threat in actual fact to his title aspirations is no longer running. So the maths will be going on. His own pit board from John, his father, in the pit lane will be saying what you need to do. And they're utterly dejected. The number 91, Kevin Kolsch, Luke Williams, taking the long walk back. And that is a very, very sad sight.
Yeah, very sad indeed. Such a shame. They put together a really strong season. They had a run of 4 successive victories at the start of the year at Snetterton and at Knockhill. Another one also at Cadwell Park. Then changed passenger over to Ryan Childwood. Results weren't as easy to come by when they were back at Snetterton later on in the season, but they looked they were on a good show here.
Still the Birchells and Laidlow scrapping this out all the way through into the closing stages. We're on the penultimate lap now, with Sam and Jack Laidlow having a bite with the 14 times Isle of Man T2 runner. 4 World Championships, I think, under Ben Birchall's helmet as well. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. What a class entry we've got here for the finale, and what a way to go out.
Absolutely, and what that does also, Barry, here for Blackstock and Lawrence, just gives them that bit of breathing room whilst these two are squabbling behind. The gap seems to have stabilised at the front, actually, as well. Payne and Rousseau, Ellis and Clement, the gap looked to be coming down over the last couple of laps. It's now sitting about 1.6 seconds. Lap time a little bit faster for the team in second on board the number 6 machine, but look at this battle just off of the podium here.
The Honda then showing its nose, but Laidlow hanging on as they go round Hawthorne and up to Westfield. But through on the inside at Westfield, Birchall has gone through, just rubbing the sidecar arch on the nose cone of the Laidlow number 84, the blue and yellow bike. And then away they go down Dingledell and the right-hander then of Sheen Curve. And up to Hawthorne's, Sterling's, I beg your pardon, and now Sterling's the run-in under the bridge into Clearways to start the final lap. That's been a battle all the way down, and the Laidlow brothers have acquitted themselves magnificently this season.
Yeah, and you sense the fact that that battle was coming, really. Lap times between the two, about half a second quicker for Birchall and Wilkes last time around, so they definitely had a pace advantage in the closing stages of this one, and they were able to use that to their benefit.
Let's watch Lewis Blackstock and Oscar Lawrence on this final tour of the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit on their way to their first title. That applies to both of them. Their first season together, of course. They gelled very well. Oscar Lawrence, son of a famous passenger, successful in his own right in British Championship, Rick Lawrence. But Lewis Blackstock, for so long, and I said it yesterday, the bridesmaid but never the bride. But today he gets married.
Phenomenal. It's absolutely wonderful. He'll be walking down the aisle with a face full of glee after this one. And that's the thing, isn't it, in motorcycle racing? When the circumstances fall in your favour, especially as they have done for Blackstock and Lawrence here, they've really taken full profit of it. And it's easy to lose your head in situations like this, but they've kept it calm, kept it composed. Less than half a lap to go now, Barry. It's going to feel like the longest few corners of their life here at Brands Hatch, but what a way to round off their season.
They'll be listening for funny noises. They'll be feeling, I'm wondering, oh, did that move a bit? Is everything okay? Am I still going to bring it home? Well, they are just a few bends away now from glory. Clearways is in sight. Once round there, they can see the checkered flag. Lewis Blackstock and young Oscar Lawrence. I don't know which of them I'm more delighted for, but over the line goes Harry Payne, the victor. A good race by Todd Ellis. That's it. Blackstock and Oscar Lawrence have done it. You can see the jubilation. Don't punch me too hard. I've got to... What? Tom, look at that. Look at that. And that's a cheer for... Yeah, for Lewis.
That's Mrs. Dow down there, isn't it, as well? She's the head figure of that team. And look at
that's Simai of Dow Racing. And there, John.
The emotion on pit wall, it's just wonderful. That's the joy and jubilation. They'd have gone into this race, Barry, thinking that they had an outside chance, but it wasn't a realistic possibility. How the fortunes can turn so quickly at that technical problem.
Well, last year it was their misfortune. This year it was poor Luke Williams, and my heart goes out to them as well. But now the handstand, they're steady on, lad. Steady on. His father used to do that. That was a trademark. He nearly went over the front.
I dare say there'll be a few more of those in the bar later on, to be honest, Barry.
Well, not in our bar.
Well, you're there as well. Get your Sweet Caroline on the go again and we'll be laughing. What a season that they've put together, though, right in the right place at the right time. And as I said a couple of times in that as well, just keeping their head calm, keeping it controlled and keeping it composed in that race. And also a shout-out to Payne and Russo.
Yeah,
we hardly mentioned them in that race, didn't we, Barry? But they kept it so well. The gap actually quite close between Ellis and Clement right at the end of that one.
You can see why the number 45 have been front runners in the World Championship all season and winners, of course, in 2024 of that title. Still the 2025 title to be confirmed, as I said, waiting on a technical infringement judgment from the FIM, and that is due, as I understand it, next week. Todd Ellis, Emmanuel Clement congratulating Lewis Blackstock and Oscar Lawrence. Phil Bell, who finishes second in the, well, he won the Cup battle, but he was still behind Rob Atkinson. Double victory for Atkinson and Middleton in the Cup class. Bell, though, finishes second in that title chase behind Paul Kirby and Emma Salmon. I want to say a huge thank you to Tom Brooks. I've enjoyed working with you. You know, we're competitors at some points, but we were mates this weekend.
Barry, it's always a pleasure to work with you. You're an absolute legend. I grew up listening to you on the telly many, many moons ago, and a testament to your passion and your drive and your wonderful commentary. It's been an absolute joy. Thank you.
That's fantastic. Thank you for saying that. Look at that. There's Paul Kirby. Kirby and Emma Salmon. Look at this then. Up the inside, nearly claiming it, Todd Ellis, but Payne and Russo got victory. But they're the jubilation and the thrill of winning their very first title for Blackstock and Lawrence. And John's in tears. That's an emotional. I know the journey they've been on, and there's Sumai from Dow Racing, very much a fan of that team. Now watch this. This is nearly going over the front. Now, am I going to straighten my legs? Slowly does it.
Yeah, you don't want to overdo it on the slowdown lap. Do you know, I remember commentating on a sidecar race a few years ago where it was actually at Liddon Hill, and the team had won it, and they ended up doing a celebration and crashed the sidecar on the slowdown lap. But there we go. Look at that. They've had the T-shirts printed. I have to say, I reckon going into this weekend, they were probably in a box somewhere buried in the back of the garage. They would have to hastily move all the spare parts out the way to find them.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. What a way to set up the final day of the British Superbike season here at Brands Hatch. There's so much more to come. It's going to be a fantastic Sunday, but my work is almost done. And I have to say, I can't relax. I have a report to write and some other stuff to do in the paddock, but I must say I'm thrilled.
And a bit of karaoke to get on with later, I'm sure.
Quite possibly. Quite possibly.
I tell you what, these riders and teams would have been so glad that their race was actually a little bit earlier in the day, because they'd missed out on the rain that's forecast this afternoon, which,
yes,
you know, could spring a few surprises in some of the other categories that we've got to decide this weekend.
I wasn't sure if that was a camera or a leaf blower.
Big old exhaust or something like that. Great ride also from Ellis and Clement.
Indeed.
Less than a tenth of a second, and they got the fastest lap of the race on the final lap there, Barry.
Well, I spoke to him earlier, and I said, I thought your race yesterday was the best I've seen from you this year. Not being patronising, but he said, yeah, we're getting better. But he certainly was on the case there, wasn't he?
Yeah, wonderful. And look at this. These are the celebrations that I'm sure are going to go on throughout the remainder of today and long into tonight here at Brands Hatch for Blackstock and Lawrence. What a season they put together. Sorry about some of the language you might have heard down there in Parc Ferme. As you can imagine, emotions running a little bit high.
Yes, of course. And there, John gives his son a hug. For 10 years they've been plugging away. Absolutely fantastic. And they're back next year. We have an action-packed Sidecar season planned for next year. And as I understand it, maybe a few more will be here on this prestigious British Superbike stage. Let's have a look then. Confirmation of the race result. As we saw on track, Payne and Russo victory over Ellis and Clement. It was a tight thing, 8/100ths of a second the gap. Blackstock and Lawrence then champions confirmed. Birchall and Wilkes got the better of the Laidlow brothers. Good to see Ryan and Callum Crowe there in the top six. Biggs and Sagers confirmed fifth in the standings with that seventh place. Atkinson and Middleton getting better all the time in the Cup class. Winners again over Bell, Kirby and Salmon. That's the top 10. The Cup riders there identified in green. Fairs and Pitt, Peach and Hope, Gray Muldoon, 75 years of age. Brian Gray, unbelievable. Holland Stevens, we saw them retired. Reeves, sadly, went well. Here we go then, the final numbers. Blackstock and Lawrence, a 12-point victory margin over Williams and Kolsch, with Laidlow's there, guaranteed third. The Chris's weren't here, but Biggs confirmed fifth. What a season he and Ferry Sagers have had. Birchall improves so much more on that ride, chassis Honda. Kirby and the overalls, of course, cup winners. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant result. Delighted for everyone out there. What a final weekend they've given us. Peach, Moss, Kirkup. Haven't seen them for a while.
Oscar Lawrence as the SSD British Sidecar champion. We'll have Harry Payne.
Lewis Blackstock and Oscar Lawrence, you are the British Sidecar champions. Your smiles say a lot. And also, when you were coming across the line, tapping the sidecar, tapping each other, and you may not have seen it, but it was the same in pit lane with your team. What does this mean to you guys?
It means so much. After this, we had a brilliant start, and then just the year fell to bits, and we were 88 points down, and you just got to keep believing and keep pushing, and it's happened.
So much hard work has gone into this. Can you give us some words?
Oh, it's just been a tough year. Like midway through, we were 88 points. You don't even think it's possible, but we just stuck in there and got it done.
And it all came together, and a special celebration as well with that handstand. Is that somewhat of a tradition?
Yeah, I've done a few, but I thought today deserved a couple more. I thought I'll do a few more today.
Well, you executed it all perfectly. Go and enjoy the celebrations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wonderful stuff. Absolutely wonderful stuff. Grace doing a great job down there. Let's have a look. Let's have a look what happened when it all went horribly wrong. As we look at the highlights here, Luke Williams sadly had to be stuck with a breakdown, didn't even make the start. Blackstock knew what he had to do. He had to get up there. Didn't matter too much about Harry Payne because he was a wild card, but Blackstock, as poor Luke Williams and Kevin Kolsch, totally dejected, weeping, I'm quite sure, on pit wall. But what unfolded after that was an action-packed scrap all the way down. Tim Reeves and Daniel Turner mixing it on the yellow outfit, the young Australian getting his first taste of British Sidecar Championship action, and he and his brother Corey will be back here for a full season next year. The Laidlow brothers will be out doing it, but they really fought hard today. Guaranteed third in the title. Good to see Ryan and Callum Crow coming so strongly. Reeves was retired with a mechanical problem, but Todd Ellis really found his mojo. He and Emmanuel Clement chasing hard at the front and eventually caught and almost passed Harry Payne and Kevin Rousseau. Meanwhile, further down the order, that battle raged. Out front, though, it was Harry Payne. Blackstock did everything he needed to do. Birchall eventually got the better of the Laidlow brothers and their Blackstock, and Oscar Lawrence on target behind this pair of wildcards. Here they come. They know they've done it, and what a feeling that must be. A great way to end their season, and well, they weren't the only ones happy, and I'm glad he made it on his head. Oh, they can relax now, the job's done. Congratulations from Todd Ellis and Emmanuel Clement. This is the race result podium. And there you can see race winners Harry Payne and Kevin Rousseau climbing to the top step for the second time this weekend. Now they have to hold their breath and await the judgment of the FIM on their World Championship aspirations for this season, having won it on paper, but a technicality could well take it away from them. But nothing can take away the victory in the championship, but third place was good enough in the race for Blackstock and Lawrence. Chris Wright, Stainless Steel Designs, SSD, the title sponsors of the championship, handing out the silverware. He didn't make those in his stainless steel factory, that's for sure.
No doubt about it. I tell you what, that third place for Blackstock and Lawrence is going to feel like the sweetest victory that they've ever had. And also for Payne and Russo, as we said over the course of that one, we hardly mentioned them, but the gap coming right down to the wire at the end of that one, thanks to the late charge from Ellis and Clement. Great ride from all of the top three, but in particular, that battle for the victory was absolutely fantastic.
Well, Lewis said to me yesterday, you know, I said, well, is there an aspiration to go World Championship racing? He said, not really. He said, my heart's in the British paddock, and if I win the title, I want to defend it.
Hey, if you get racing like that, Barry, next season, we're in for an absolute treat, aren't we?
We certainly are. Brilliant, brilliant. And this then, the race result, the bubbly flows. The motocross riders put goggles on, you know, because that stuff stinks.
It does. It's the last thing you want to get in your mince pies, isn't it? But, well, I'm sure they'll be enjoying the celebrations down there, Blackstock and Lawrence.
Oh, my goodness me. That will sting, sting, sting.
See the emotion down there in Parc Ferme as well. What a season they've put together, and in those phenomenal circumstances to have come good right at the end of that one.
Well, from 88 points, that must have seemed like an absolutely impossible mountain to climb.
No doubt about it, yeah, especially when your back is against the wall in situations like that. You know, it's easy to think that the cards have been dealt, but you really can't count them until you've seen the numbers.
There is Chris Wright, himself a Sidecar driver, but Stainless Steel Designs, manufacturers of catering equipment, has been very supportive of this championship throughout the 2025 season, and of course earlier than that. But now we are looking at the championship podium, and it's right to the very top step. What would that feel like?
Can't imagine, can you? And I'd say they'll be so thankful that that race was dry, that the inclement weather we're expecting later on this afternoon, thankfully it hasn't come in. But this is going to be something they'll be celebrating, I'm sure, long into the night here this weekend. And it's going to give them a spring in their step going into the off-season, going into 2026, I'm sure, as well.
Well, Lewis said to me, whatever happens, he said, that bike is going to be ripped to bits on Monday, and we're going to start planning for next year.
No rest for the wicked, is there at all?
None whatsoever. That's it then, trophy in the air, job done for Blackstock and Lawrence. The delight is obvious, the party will go on into the night, but from me, Barry Nutley, thanks for being with me this season here on TNT. I've enjoyed every minute. Hope to talk to you next season. God bless for now.